Please take a seat. What I meant to say. In the same way that this call to us to believe God in the midst of and through our journeys of faith as believers, this is certainly a call to us as a body of believers, as we grow and as we continue to discover together and to search for together. What does it mean to be the church? How is it that we live out this life? And we've already experienced a host of opportunities and challenges about, are we believing God as we do this? Well, I'm excited that we are on the brink of having another opportunity to believe God, to trust in God for His provision in the journey, and that He truly is leading us in the right way, in the way to Him and to a place that He pictures for us and is designed for us as a church. For the past several months, we've been praying about and talking a little bit about a decision that's been on some of our hearts that we began to pray more actively about. And that is to invite John McQuaid to accept an increasing role in the life of this body. Several weeks ago, when we talked about our budget, we introduced that idea to you. We began really to talk out loud about that for the first time. And asked you to be praying with us. That, elders had an impression, a strong sense that God was calling us to recognize in John and in his role an increasing, more visible role in the leadership of the church and in the life of this body. Since that time, your response has uniformly been, I've talked to so many of you, has been, oh yeah. I mean, that is the right thing. Wonderful, that's incredible. And the truth is, that's because I think that we've all seen in John the exact same thing. This humble, loving man who deeply desires to know and to serve God more and more. And knows in the process, and boy, how important is this, that he doesn't have it all figured out. And so your support of this and your comments and your input has been so encouraging, both to us as elders, but also to John. Many of you have contacted John directly and say, John, I'm praying for you. And you're so supportive of this. And so are we. And so today, we are thrilled to announce to you that we have, after praying about this, and talking about this, and meeting with John about this, and trying to describe and about what that role looks like, we have asked John if he would accept the role of, whether we call it assistant pastor or associate pastor, that goes, if he would accept that role in the life of this body, a role that we didn't want to terribly define, but a role for which we had some specific things in mind for now, including a more visible part in our time of worship together and leading us in some encouraging ways as we gather on Sunday mornings to come before God as a community and so that we can benefit from His heart during this time. We've also asked John to be someone who's specifically supporting and encouraging the deacons and the work that group of people is already performing with wondrous results in faithfulness. We've asked John to take a laboring oar in helping develop some curriculums, particularly for the small groups that are meeting in our homes, so that we could all be working on some things and talking about some things at the same time, and maybe not in the same way, but so that we as a church in these small groups can be kind of working towards some of the same ends and having some of the same discussions. So much so that on the Sunday evenings when we meet once a month here for dinner, we're hoping to make that a time not only of fellowship and enjoying a meal together, but to have some teaching and to make it a sort of a celebration of our small groups so that we can gather together and have John or me or some of us hold out some encouragements based upon the things that we're walking through and learning together. John, in some ways, is by no means waited to be invited to do anything. The role that we see for John, the role that we are so excited to see increase, is one that he can't help but doing anyway. Because in so many ways, the most important part of what John will continue to do is to love you. And to be one with the shepherd's heart. To be one who is called and responds to the call to invest of himself in the lives and in the journeys of others. As Larry Crabb puts it, to, I just forgot that phrase. John, help me. Engage in the battle for other people's souls. And so in some ways today, we're putting a name on something that already is. And that's the best part of it. Because we know it's so much of God. And that God has brought you and your family, who we love so much, to this church to be part of what's happening here in a meaningful way. So we're thrilled. Now, before I have John come up here and we embarrass him publicly, I did want to tell you that we are committed to the idea and that this is a role that we need to support financially. And though John will not be coming on full time, he continues to be working in construction, and he's so handy with that stuff that he can't leave it. Despite some recent issues of clumsiness. But it is certainly a role that we want to support financially. We don't know exactly how that's going to look. You might be praying. We're continuing to discuss that. And we've talked about some specific goals. Some specific thoughts that we have in that regard, and we will share that with you. But we don't really have anything solid to report at this point. But I can tell you this, whatever it is, will be a step of faith for us as a church, and for John, and for Joy and their family. Because we are committed to the idea that we need to be financially supportive of this role in ways that is going to be a challenge for us, but that we're excited about. And so I'm going to ask John if John would come up now.